Hey everyone, it's me, Chris from Body Nova Fitness Coaching, and I'm here today. We're going to talk about supersets. Okay, supersets are forgotten. I don't want to say forgotten, but people don't use them enough, or use them in the right way, But it's an exercise technique that can be used. Whether you're trying to gain muscle or whether you're trying to drop body fat, and it can be very useful for you to help you get to where you want to be. But before we get started, make sure that you click that like and subscribe button so you can get more videos like the one we're going to make right now. A superset is when you take one exercise and you immediately pair it with another exercise before you take a break. And there's lots and lots of examples of supersets, and there's lots and lots of types of supersets. But where the superset has the benefits for a lot of people, it depends on which one that you use. Supersets have been helpful for people getting a large amount of work or larger amount of work in a short period of time. So that helps people who are time restricted with their workouts get a lot of work in. It can help you make muscles work harder that you're trying to target, that you're trying to make grow. And also create the situations that you need for fat loss. So we're going to go more over those as things progress. Okay, so there's 5 different types of supersets. Some people might say 6, but I group one the same. I group 2 of them the same way. Okay, so first off, we're starting with the reciprocal or staggered. Okay, and there's research with the reciprocal superset that'll show that they're really good for fat loss. So if I were to hit a bench press, okay, and then turn around and hit pull-ups, that would be an example of a reciprocal superset. I've written a lot of full body workouts lately, and I use a type of, they would call it staggered, but to me, staggered reciprocal. It's basically what it is when the 2 muscles you are trying to work, they don't interfere with each other. Like you wouldn't want to do a superset with your tricep, like a tricep press down, and then do a shoulder press, because your triceps will be fried and you would have problems straightening your arms. So you would have to handle less weight. In most cases, you don't want to do that. So these reciprocal or the staggered, like in this case, I guess what I'm doing in what I'll show you now is a type of staggered workout where I would do a bench press. I'm doing a bench press, and then I'm supersetting with hammer curls. Okay, so that is staggered, but to me, the bench press is an extension exercise. Okay, most of the joints are extending, the shoulders are flexing, but anyway, and with the curls, that's flexion. So they kind of, the main muscles are flexing muscles, so they're reciprocal. So they're kind of sort of the same thing. But the whole point is, like in the case of I think it's called full body karate, where I took exercises that were staggered. So I would have one exercise. You could do one exercise and then do another and take a break. But then, so like if I had you doing squats and then you did pull-ups, they're not reciprocal exercises. But if you did squats and then pull-ups or the lat pull down, right? Okay, so when you're doing the lat pull down, those muscles that you use doing the squat are resting, but you're not resting. So you're still getting work done and you're maximizing your time in there. Then you take a break and then you go squats again. So if I rested 2 minutes and it took me, let's say 40, 50 seconds to do my set of lat pull downs, I've squatted. The squat system is resting 40, 50 seconds during the lat pull downs. And then let's say I rest a minute, minute and a half, whatever, 2 minutes before repeating. I've rested almost 3 minutes before I squat again, but I'm not wasting my time. So that's a benefit, and that's how you can keep the time down and dense, okay? The next is a compound. So you would do 2 compound exercises, but in a compound it's for the same muscle group. So it would be flat bench press and incline bench press, or dips and incline bench press. Those are examples of a compound there. Now you can also do isolation. So it could be flies and cable crossovers, incline, preacher curls and spider curls. Those are all great examples of isolation exercises. For muscle groups that you can put together in a superset with 2 exercises with the same muscle. All right. Post fatigue. Again, we're talking the same muscle group, but with post fatigue, it could be squats and then leg extension, for example. So I can hit a squats for my quads, and then turn around and hit those hit leg extensions, which is an isolation exercise, because isolation exercises, you're only hitting one muscle group. So that satisfies the post fatigue there. All right. And pre-fatigue, okay? With pre-fatiguing superset is you're going to take an isolation exercise and you're going to pair it with a compound exercise. So, like in some cases, with a lot of the women, there's this ongoing argument for the squats are better or hip thrusts are better. And when you start looking at the research, minus some silly people's input, you're going to see that both are great and you need both. Okay, so you can do a hip thrust, isolation, because the only movement we want is coming at the hip joint to work the glutes, right? And then you can turn right around and really torch them or really feel them when you do the squat, okay? Okay, when you do your squats. You can work your arms, and you can start with a preacher curl, and you can really torch those arms, hitting the preacher curl, which is kind of more of an isolation exercise there. And then you go on to the with the barbell curl or dumbbell curl or hammer curl, one of the main movements for the exercise. Okay, so again, those are supersets, and when you fatigue it by using an isolation exercise or exercise that is not one of the mid-range movements for the exercise, okay, you fatigue that muscle, you fatigue that muscle. So now, in order to complete the task that you're asking of lifting those weights when you're doing those squats or you're doing those barbell curls or the bench presses or whatever, that particular muscle has to work harder. The other assisting muscles don't, but that target muscle has to work harder, because you have to, it's already fatigued, so it has to recruit more muscle that you normally wouldn't recruit if you did those exercises separate to help you complete the task. So if you beat up more muscle tissue and you do everything else right, your body has to come back with the need to build more muscle. So that's the beauty of the pre-fatigue, and you can work harder without having to lift more weight. Okay, so that's the beauty of a pre-fatiguing superset. Well, all of these are great, and all of these are great in their time, but that's the reason why I like the pre-fatiguing. Okay, now how can they be used to build muscle? That's just the way that we did that. You can pre-fatigue that muscle and, make it work harder when you do the compound movement, in that superset, and, it'll have to access more and more muscle fibers to get the job done that it normally wouldn't have to if you just did a regular straight set. Okay. Also, they can also give you the opportunity to work more volume, because if people have a short amount of time or a limited amount of time they spend in the gym, okay, you can hit supersets and get the same amount of work done in less time. Okay, so that gives you time to add more work to your workouts. Okay, so that's another way. But as I say that also gives us some ways that it could be used to burn fat. Okay, there's a study, and I'm going to show you here. And they talked about reciprocal supersets, okay? And with these reciprocal supersets, you know, like bench press and rows, or bench press and pull-ups, you know, bicep curls and tricep extensions, okay? They found that when they performed those supersets, they got the same amount of work done in less time, but there was also a reason why they burned extra calories, okay? And I have a video on progressive overload and density. I'll link it in the I'll link it below in the description. But any time where there was where you made workouts more dense, okay, your body had to combat that by, let's just say, requiring extra oxygen. So your body burned more calories until your oxygen levels return to normal baseline after the workout. Now, this is not a lot. This is not enough calories to justify going on Taco Tuesday and drinking tons and tons of alcoholic beverages while you're at that. But, you know, in some cases, every little bit counts, you know, because you don't always have to go and touch your calorie intake. You know what I mean? You can do more exercise at the same calorie intake and create that deficit. So that can create fat loss. And then also, when you're working under those conditions, they also noted that lactic acid was higher in these studies. So whenever lactic acid got higher, you know, growth hormone got higher with it, which allowed them to have extra fat loss if everything else was taken care of, you know. So supersets, they're great for getting a great workout done in less time, or getting more work done in less time so you can get add more work to your workout. You know, they set up conditions for fat loss, you know, by having you release more fat burning hormones, by having you burn more calories during the workout, you know, just working hard all together. And you know, they build muscle because you can, you know, you have to work harder with any of these types of supersets, but especially when you're doing pre-fatigues or compounds, because you're tiring it out in one exercise before you are before you go on to the other exercise and you do that work. And there's lots of ways to use those. So if you guys have any questions, you know, feel free to message me or what have you, and make sure you click like and subscribe. Until next time.